Okay, let's just
Edward R.
Edward R. Fine. Welcome to segment 6. And this evening we have with us Eric Wilson, who sells healthcare insurance and other things. And we're going to talk a little bit about what can we do with the healthcare system the way it is today. And we've been talking on the break here, all of the problems with healthcare, all of the upselling and all the kinds of things that are going on in this industry. What can we do to make it more user-friendly?
Well, I think the first thing is, as we're saying, it's the only thing in the world that you have no idea what anything costs, ever. And, you know, if you're, and the people are ignorant because they don't need the insurance company's paying for it, so they don't need to know what it costs, so they don't care, they don't shop around. If you're buying a car, you're gonna know what it's gonna cost, you're gonna try to look for the best deal. But with healthcare, we don't do that. So I think if they, you know, if you put more skin in the game for things, and make the doctors post the pricing. The physical is $100. This flu is $80, whatever. You know, and you know what it goes in. And we have these goofy PPO discounts now. And get rid of the PPO discount. It's one price. It's $100. If you have insurance, your insurance pays for it. If you don't, you pay for it. You know, but get rid of that stuff there. It was simple. First of all, simplify the whole entire billing process because then now it's a numerical code and stuff gets misbilled and miscoded, and you know, so we simplify that there. But
yeah, I got a bill the other day from the dermatologist, and there was like 5 different items on there, and there was no description. It was just number.
right.
And I called him up. I called him up and I said, "You have to tell me what every single one of these things is right now, or else start sending me bills that I can read."
Right. Well, I'm actually dealing with one right now with one of my kids. Went to the doctor and basically went for a school physical, which was covered 100%. We go in June, and the doctor didn't administer a couple of shots he was supposed to. I don't know if he didn't know. I don't know why he didn't. So that will cover. We have to go back in August because we get, you know, the nurse says, "Oh, you'll have 2 shots." So we got to go back. And I get a bill for like, I don't know, like $60 or something like that. And I call the insurance company, find out he's coded wrong. So I call the doctor, you got to recode it. What's the code supposed to be? Well, I don't know what the code's supposed to be. You're the doctor. You know, I mean, I don't know what the code. I'm not in medical billing. All I know is it was a preventative visit for a school shot. It's covered under the law. You know, fix it. You know, and you know, so it's just a mess there. And I had one years ago with my wife. This is before the Obamacare, but her insurance, you know, her passenger was covered 100%. And the doctor coded it as a cancer screening, which it is a cancer screening. It is a cancer screening, but a different kind of cancer screening. So we have a bill for it. So that's how we always code it. Well, that's not how you always code it because we never had this bill before.
Right.
So you know, what's going on? You know, it's a game, right? So I mean, you simplify the whole thing. You just write down what you have done.
And that's the other thing we were talking about before is savvy shoppers, savvy medical shoppers. If you don't have insurance, you can actually negotiate the price, just like your insurance company does for you. So yeah, as you say, it should be the same price for everybody, but it's not, because I'll go in and negotiate a 30% discount.
Right. But again, if everything was say a $5,000 family deductible, then 100% coverage, and nothing covered before that. If I had something, first of all, if I had the sniffles, I probably wouldn't go to the doctor the first day. That would bring costs down because everybody's not going to the doctor for every little thing. That would bring your insurance costs down. But the other thing you would do is you would take an interest in your health care. What does this cost? I'll give you an example. I actually did this. Before I did this, I had a regular corporate job, and I tell the story a lot.
A grown-up job, I call it.
Yeah, well, yeah. So my youngest son is born, and they said, "We're going to take him for a hearing test." I said, "What's it cost?" They said, "The insurance company pays for it." I said, "Wrong answer." He went like that. I said, "He can hear, don't do the test." you know, don't tell me the insurance, you know, because if I was uninsured, they would have done that test. Yeah. You know, so it's an example of, you know,
upselling.
Yeah. I want my son to be able to hear, sure, but you know, you're taking a hearing test. You're not going to tell me you don't know what it costs. You're going to, I didn't like the answer.
Yeah.
You know, clap my hands. You like that? Can hear. So again, is that upselling? Maybe. Is it? You know, I'm sure they don't offer that test to people without insurance.
Right.
Just guessing.
Exactly.
I think that we need to allow for a free market economy. I mean, competition is a good thing, and doctors and lawyers both are in a situation that they're not supposed to advertise. I mean, that's eased off some, but you're right. You can't call a medical office and go, "What do you get for doing this procedure?" and then call the next one, "What do you get for this one?" Because you get this mishmash of answer. You know, well, now, you know, you gotta do these tests, and then you gotta do this. And they purposely make it difficult to understand.
Right.
Purposely do. And you're just at their mercy.
Yeah, medicine, sort of lawyers to some degree, but less so than doctors, I think. There's a touchy-feely aspect, though. You know, if you like a doctor, you might be willing to pay more for that service.
Oh, sure, right.
Even if, you know, even if they did post their prices or publicize, you know, make it available to know the prices. You know, if you really like somebody,
Oh, yeah,
you know, and you have a relationship with them, you might be willing to pay that.
Right, but you just don't know what it is.
Back in the mid-1800s, when medicine was being done in barber shops, they used to put, like, you know, a bill of ladling or whatever you call it on the wall.
Right.
And they, you know, bullet wounds, so much like that. And then for some inexplicable reason, they stopped having barbers do medical procedures. And they replaced it with people who would just saw on you. In the Civil War, what a horrifying thing. They would just saw it like a leg off. They didn't have anesthesia. I don't like that.
Well, you know, another thing I always thought was a good idea was if you go back to the premise on health insurance and insurance, any kind of insurance are for things you can't pay for. You know, your auto insurance doesn't pay for the oil change. $40 whatever you get done every 3,000 miles, not paid for. Brakes, tires, you know, tires are $100 a tire. You have to pay for them yourself, right? If they went to somewhat of a model like that for health insurance, where not every nook and cranny was covered, certain things you just paid for. You know, you would take interest in your health. You would think, do I need to? Did I just screw up? Have I ever run to the doctor? No, you might take 2 or 3 days with the flu and take some, you know, Tylenol and a gnat and some orange juice, and maybe you get better. Maybe you still go. But if you knew you had to pay for some things, you know, you would shop a little bit there. So I always thought that was, you know, why is health insurance different? Why do we have a doctor as a copay? Why is that even paid for at all? You know, I mean, I've always wondered that. I just think that's a way to bring healthcare costs down. We talked also about the cosmetic surgery, which is almost never covered by insurance, and that is very competitive. It's fairly affordable from what I understand, and people are still doing it. And there's no insurance in the game, and you know what it costs. I'm sure they have to tell you what it costs before you have it done.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
and they offer financing.
It's fine, right. You know?
They do.
So, and a drive-up window. Here's your body part, give me this.
No, but it's true, and I was also saying before we started was that the prices of cosmetic surgery have either stayed consistent or they've gone down.
Right.
You know, I mean, I hear radio commercials all the time for cosmetic procedures, and so they'll say, you know, we're running a special for $5,000 for a breast augmentation. Well, a few years ago that was $10,000. So now the price is coming down to where they can offer a special for $5,000. Well, that's, you know, it's probably really $7,500, but they're, you know, they're trying to get more customers.
You know, and the other thing that I think you have to have, you know, so it has to be reasonable. I mean, the cost of medications in this country is nuts. And I mean, I have a lot of my clients go get stuff out of Canada. I have a guy in Naperville who lives out works for the Canadian pharmacy, who lives in Naperville. But call him and, you know, he'll get a price in Canada, a third of the price is in here. You know where it's made? Abbott Labs in Columbus, Ohio. You know, I mean, but it's a third of the price up there. You know, so why is it? You know, I get some, you know, like I said, there's research and, you know, there has to be a price and okay, but why can it be made here, shipped there, and I can buy it up there for less? It doesn't make any sense either.
Well, and it actually makes even less sense. I used to do that. I went online and I found some Canadian pharmacy that would sell me the drug that I wanted because I didn't have insurance. And it was probably 2/3 the price of what it would be on the open market here to just pay cash for it outright. So I would order it from this Canadian pharmacy, but when I got the package, it actually came from some Pacific island somewhere.
Samoa or something.
Yeah, it was.
You know,
It was like Vanuatu.
Chicken claw tied to the top
It
of
was,
you know,
yeah.
India's big in drugs. This was a story I saw, I don't know, 60 Minutes, 2020 something about Walgreens. Walgreens gets a lot of their medication from India, but they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that. So it's, you know, they sell the U.S. prices, so their market's got to be astronomical.
Oh, yeah.
So, I just,
Helps the profit margin.
the medical costs, people don't understand with insurance, when this healthcare law passed it started out as healthcare reform, and somewhere in the middle, it transitioned to health insurance reform.
Mhm.
But healthcare costs, healthcare insurance is a derivative of healthcare costs.
Right.
And the law did nothing to bring the cost down,
Right.
healthcare costs down.
Well,
So as long as healthcare costs are up, insurance has to cost more.
Sure.
And
I remember that before they passed it and they were wrangling in Congress and the Republicans said, okay, we have these 4 ideas to reform healthcare without going to like a single payer system, which is what the Democrats really wanted. And one of them was tort reform.
yeah, that's huge.
And as you say, that was not addressed
Right.
at all.
Right.
The liability insurance for these doctors and these hospitals is off the charts.
I don't,
And that alone, I know that even before ACA, that alone was driving doctors.
oh, sure. I know doctors, they're not, their malpractice is $100,000 a year. Imagine turning your lights on January 1st, and before you pay your rent, you got to pay anything, you're $100,000 in the hole. Before you see,
Right.
that's a lot of money you got to make just for your insurance.
I had a buddy of mine in college who all he wanted to do was go to medical school and go to a rural area and be the doctor. And so he went to med school, UBA, and he met another guy there and they got to be buddies. So the guy I knew became an OB guy, and the other guy was a GP, physician surgeon type. And they got a town in Michigan, close to the UP. There wasn't a doctor for 100 miles. And what they literally did is they gave these guys a clinic. They gave them a building. Here's the building. And then they gave them 0 interest loans for homes. And they were in pig heaven, man. They were, they're doctors, so they're like the top of the, pecking order in town. And they're social and everything is great and they're loving it. They don't make much money, but they're happy. Then they got a medical malpractice bill, having never made a claim, for more than they grossed the previous year. That was it. They're out of business.
Right.
Just that fast.
Right.
Overnight.
Right.
And not a claim.
Right.
Just
Right. And that's the other thing you're talking about, with malpractice. We're seeing more tests done. Doctors are ordering extra tests.
to cover the
Right.
funds.
Right. So with Tort Reform is so big because and trust me, if I'm supposed to have knee surgery on my left knee, and you operate on the right knee, then sue for all his work. You're supposed to take out.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do knee surgery, take out my gallbladder. Okay, that's malpractice.
You've got some issues.
But if I die on the table because I had a heart attack because I eat cheeseburgers every day for 20 years, okay, that's not the doctor's fault. Okay, that's a lifestyle choice, and unfortunately, people die.
Right.
But you can't be, and I blame I call it the McDonald's lawsuit because ever since the guy spilled the coffee, he got $1.5 million.
San Francisco. Yeah.
Gets $1.5 million for spilling hot coffee. What do you think you were getting? No, again, if I were iced tea and it was hot coffee, maybe. But ever since that opened the floodgates for everything. And then they fix the tort.
Everybody sees a payday.
Ben, you're exactly right. That's what we've evolved into.
Right.
Everybody's a victim.
Right.
You go out and commit a crime and get caught, it's never your fault.
Right.
You've always got somebody else to blame. Nobody wants to just stand up and go, you know what? Dummy did it.
Right.
And the interesting thing about that, Americans love to forgive people. They really do.
Yeah.
Americans love to forgive people. If you look in the camera and you go, you know what? That's the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life, and I will never do that again. Most Americans are going to go, okay.
Yeah.
But if you go, I didn't do that. I did not have sex with that woman. That does not go well when they figure out you in fact did have sex with that woman.
That is very true.
But actually, they forgave him for that.
Well, they did. Yeah, they did. So, yeah. Well, any other pithy thoughts?
No, I just think, if you're gonna reform it, you gotta reform the entire thing. You can't just look at, health insurance costs are too high, so we gotta find a way to bring health insurance costs, we gotta insure these people. The other thing too with healthcare, there's, auto insurance, again, the auto insurance model, when you turn 16 and you're a new driver, you have high risk insurance. There are companies, if you have too many accidents, you go to a high risk insurance company for 2 years to get your stuff back up. So they say health insurance is discrimination against these people, but it's in every form. You have too many You know, you get a DWI, you lose your insurance, you gotta go, you know, you have other things you have to get, you have to build yourself back up. There's nothing wrong with having, you know, an 18-month, you know, probationary period for, you gotta go to the risk pool for 18 months, you gotta do this for a certain amount of time. And then, you know, you don't be there forever, but, you know, they you know, there's things that they have to fix that, and, you know, and you have to bring the cost of it, they have to bring the entire cost of care down. And when the cost of care comes down, cost of insurance will come down too. Sure. And one big way to do that is, you know, if you made everything more of a catastrophic insurance for things you couldn't pay for, you wouldn't have people running to the doctor for every little thing because my hair hurts, today my fingernail hurts, I wouldn't go to the doctor today for that, because it's gonna cost me $100. And I think you see prices just come down naturally.
That might work.
Yeah,
That might be doable.
it'd be the cosmetic surgery model. And, you know, another thing we talked about, you know, is just like that, the a la carte buffet, you know, for insurance companies, you want to make them offer everything under the sun, that's fine. Like now, right now we have, you know, colonoscopies covered and maternity covered, and you can be a single guy, 25 years old, not married, you have to have attorney on policy, because that's the way the law is. And, okay, you want to make sure we offer everything, great, but don't make me purchase everything. You know, make me purchase.
And you know, that's really,
I know I get more than the government does, or anybody else does.
see, that's the thing. The question that comes to my mind is, just from the get-go, why is the government involved in healthcare?
Right.
What control?
Well, and that is what it boils down to. That should be a free market industry thing.
Right.
Now, as I said before, there are some people who fall between the cracks because pre-existing condition, for love or money, you couldn't get insurance if you had a pre-existing condition. Okay, I get that. All right, there are certain segments of society that have been excluded from healthcare. Those are the people you want to target with a federal program.
Right.
Not everybody.
Well, you know, that's one thing too, is a misconception, and I got me on a rampage, sorry. You know, they kept saying there's 50 million Americans uninsured, okay? There is a difference between being uninsurable and being uninsured. Right. I mean, when you broke it down, there was about 7.5 million that were, between 7.5 and 9 million that were uninsured, if I count in the figures, which polls you look at. They were uninsurable. You know, they're people
They wanted insurance, but they couldn't.
Right, couldn't get it, right. I mean, you know, the 25-year-old who's bulletproof, that says he doesn't need insurance, or the guy who's making $100,000 a year.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of very, very rich people who
Self-insured
don't want insurance because they can just pay for whatever.
Sure, right. So I mean, you know, and you know, and there's millions of people in these categories. And so when you really looked at the numbers, it was, and great, 7.5 million, 9 million, whatever, that's still a lot of people you want to take care of, and find a way to take care of them.
But as you say, most states already had something.
Right, there was something, and it got expensive, so find a way to subsidize that, make that more cost effective for those people, you know? Or, you know, here's a great, you know, people don't realize this, the reason we had pre-existing condition in the first place was because when these geniuses wrote HIPAA, you know, you could go from corporate job to corporate job and have no pre-existing. But if I went from corporate to individual, you didn't. All you had to do is extend HIPAA to the individual market, problem solved. There's no more pre-existing condition.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Right.
You're done. That's it.
Yeah.
You're done?
I'm done.
I'm done. You're done.
Done.
That's it. That was this evening. It's how we can improve the healthcare system. And our guest has been Eric Wilson. We thank you very much for coming in and doing our show. I'd have you again.
Love to.
And we have, as our tradition, we have no idea what we're going to do next week, and it's fine. We're good with that. Thanks for watching.